Hi, I'm Karen. In this video today, I wanted to share something that I was reading this morning, and I paused at this particular spot because it just kind of reminded me of myself. And I want to share it. And how in the world did I open right back to it? I don't know. That's weird. Well, it's God. How about that? All right, I'm just going to start from the top and we'll stop where I stopped at. Bear with me. It's not long. And this is from Psalm 78. It says, They forgot what he had done, the great wonders he had shown them, the miracles he did for their ancestors on the plain of Zoan in the land of Egypt. For he divided the sea and led them through, making the water stand up like walls. In the daytime he led them by a cloud, and all night by a pillar of fire. He split open the rocks in the wilderness to give them water as from a gushing spring. He made streams pour from the rock, making the waters flow down like a river. Yet they kept on sinning against him, rebelling against the Most High in the desert. They stubbornly tested God in their hearts, demanding the foods they craved. They even spoke against God himself, saying, God can't give us food in the wilderness. Yes, he can strike a rock so water gushes out, but he can't give his people bread and meat. When the Lord heard them, he was furious. The fire of his wrath burnt against Jacob. Yes, his anger rose against Israel, for they did not believe God or trust him to care for them. And this is where I stopped at. I stopped here when it says, yes, his anger rose against Israel, for they did not believe God or trust him to care for them. And it kind of reminds me of my life when I think about being fearful. When I think about being fearful, whatever the new situation is or whatever it is that's going on in my mind, whether it's about the past or the future or the present. The part what David is talking about is when Moses helped to free God's people from Egypt and bringing them through the Red Sea, parting the Red Sea for them, bringing them into the wilderness and providing clouds for them so the sun wouldn't burn them, because not like they had shelter out there, and creating fire so the fire would keep them warm at night, because in the desert a lot of time it gets cold. And then dropping manna from the sky, which was what I said, it was food for the angels. He dropped that down from the sky for them to eat, and he provided water for them through the rocks. Like, he was creating miracle after miracle, but to them it wasn't a miracle because they wanted the things that they used to have. They wanted the onions, and they wanted the meat. They wanted to have the things that they were used to having, because to them that was life. That was living. What they're doing now isn't living, but you got to realize what was attached to that living. What was attached to it was slavery. It wasn't freedom, it was slavery. And sometimes in freedom, what you're gonna have is gonna be different when you're being in a place where God is taking you to free you from your situation. It's not gonna be the things you're used to. It's gonna look like less, but it's gonna be just enough. It's gonna be just the right portion for you. It's gonna be exactly what you need to get through that moment, because they were never meant to live in the desert. They were just transitioning from Egypt through the wilderness and heading to the land of Canaan. But because they stopped themselves due to fear and not believing that God, after he's brought them through, they've seen him part the Red Sea. They've seen him drown the Egyptians warriors that were coming after them. And yet they still didn't believe. They see food falling down from the sky, water gushing out of nowhere, out of rocks, out of all things. And here it is, they still don't believe God has got them. They're complaining. They're saying, oh, this God can't do nothing for us. Look, he just brought you through something that you would have stayed in slavery forever and died in it. You would have died in it. Every generation after you would have died in it. Your children's 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 children would have died in it. And I think we're so quick to just look at our current situation and look what we used to have and don't think about the things that were tied to them. And you can take this and apply this to past relationships. You'll be like, oh, you know that crap was bad. You know that relationship was freaking terrible as all get out. But here it is, you're sitting there. Oh, I remember those times. They were so good. I used to go out to eat all the time, and we used to do we used to do a whole bunch of things together, and he made me feel really special. But you forget how he was cheating on you or maybe beating the mess out of you. You forget how he didn't call you or text you back, just responded to you whenever he felt like it because you were not the only chick. Stop being delusional, thinking about the good things that you endured or you received during your slavery. It's just something to really just sit down and think about. And I want to say I've done it, because you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be lonely. So you're thinking about the past. And I'm like, yeah, I remember this person, we used to have a good time together. But then I think about it, I couldn't stand the piss out of him. He annoyed the mess out of me. And he was just not for me. And it just goes to show the things that we endure when we are in a relationship, we're in a place that is not for us. Stop making excuses because you do not belong in that place you're trying to remain. And that's in the story. It pissed God off. And I don't blame him because it's like you being on the sidelines watching one of your friends getting cheated on or getting beat by her boyfriend. And in your mind, you're like, dang, how many times she got to go through this to get it? Like how many times he got to cheat on her, have babies with other women or whatever. And here it is, you still with this person. You be like, you're the dumbest alive. You know what I mean? And so imagine that if you're that friend looking at your friend getting beat or cheated on, imagine if you were God. So if you're thinking that way, imagine how he's thinking. Then it goes back to this place that I stopped at. Yes, his anger rose against Israel, for they did not believe God or trust him to care for them. And it just took me back to that place where I remembered just being in this place where they feel like there's no hope. The people that you've been down for and you had their back, they left you high and dry. They deserted you in your time of need. And just when everything just looked like it was literally going to fall apart, God showed up. And he showed up with exactly what I needed. Not with the fabulous story that other people seem to be living on Instagram, living that life and having a whole bunch of money and living in luxury, but he provided for me. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to pay my rent. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to eat. I didn't have to worry about a whole lot of things because God just he provided. They just showed up. And this was at a place where I didn't know God. But I had a feeling there was a God, and I felt like I had no other choice but to talk to him. And the more and more I talked to him, and the more and more I saw things happening, the more and more I prayed, and the more and more I read. I literally read every morning. I woke up, had my tea, my oatmeal, and I read every morning. I sat on my balcony watching the sunrise, reading, and then I would go for a walk, listening to gospel music and talking to God. And those are the places that we need to get back to. Stop looking at your situation, and because it doesn't look like the next man's situation, you want to go and force it to happen the way you think it should. Trust me, because even from being in that place, I came down to this place where I started thinking, how am I going to do it? How am I going to make this happen? How was I? I took God out. I removed him out of the equation and started trying to figure out how I was going to do it. Now I got this under control. And I think it's so easy to fall back into that place. And I see that's where they are. They just fell right back into that trap of just thinking they need to do it for themselves because they want something particular and they want it right now. How many of you want something right now? There's something that you're wanting right now in this moment. And you're thinking about how you go and do it and how you need to get it done so you can get that. It's all about you. If you think about it, it's you. There's no God in me or what God has in store for me. Or let me sit down and be patient and wait on God. Like, we're living in this century where that's not a popular thing. And I get it, because if you aren't seeking God, or you don't have somebody pouring into you, or you're not watching something on YouTube to like inspire you and encourage you spiritually, like you're gonna miss that. You're not gonna get it. And it's okay, because I feel like this. There's gonna come points in our life, and this is for me, this is what I've experienced. That's why I'm like, we can all be in our own walk in life. But just don't be in a place where you have to keep hitting the brick wall, because that's what happened with me. Like, I had to keep hitting the brick wall, and eventually I started to realize that, hold up, there's something here I'm supposed to be addressing and looking at, and I'm just trying to run through it and rush through it like I've always have. And God will get your attention. He'll get all of our attention, even when we start to fall, go back down the stairs, if you will. He's going to get our attention. The question is, are you paying attention? Are you trying to do things your way and disregarding him and not believing in him? Because as it says here, the problem is we don't trust him to care for us. And that brought me back into the place. It's like, I've been doing my best. Like, every time I'm thinking about something I shouldn't be thinking about, I'm like, okay, let me go back to think about what God has done for me all this time. What has he done for me all this time? So that's something I just want to share. If you're in a place where you're feeling some kind of way about life right now, think about all the things that God has brought you through. What is your Egypt that God has brought you through? Was it a bad relationship that was going nowhere? Maybe you've been there like forever. You know what I mean? Like, and you just knew in your heart, like, just something was off. Like, you're just in a place where you're just there. You're just settling. You knew it wasn't for you, but you're just there because they're there, or he's there, or whomever's there. Yeah, just think about it. What is your Egypt? Is your Egypt having the next new thing because you think that's important? Like, you got to have the next new shoes, the next new palette, the next new outfit. You got to be up on trend. You got to have the latest wig and hairstyle. Like, what's your Egypt? What's keeping you slave to it? So anyway, that's it. Leave you with a question. Get you thinking, what is your Egypt that you're not willing to let go of? Because if you know what the rest that comes after this, it ain't good. If you know the rest of the story, what happens after they were complaining and God gave them what they wanted, he gave them what they wanted and it killed them. So the question is, what you're wanting, is it actually going to hurt you more than you realize? And here it is, you want that more than you want the things of God and waiting on God? That's the real question. Anyway, I want to say thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. As always, I like to make folks think. Why not? That's all we do anyway. And if you like this video, don't forget to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so more people like you here on YouTube can find my channel. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. Thank you.